Okay, so this is the rear differential lock position sensor for a 2021 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. And this is parts, I believe it's 685-446-29 alpha alpha. So 685-446-29 alpha alpha. And as of about 3 years ago, these are now available. Prior to that, apparently you had to replace the axle if this went bad. Mine is showing a flashing light on the dash, indicating that the rear differential is locking or unlocking or some nonsense like that. And the reported problem with this is that it gets full of oil. Now, we wouldn't really care about oil in electronics most of the time because, as far as I know, all oils are non-conducting. But the microscopic and very otherwise very small particles of metal that shave off of the gears as they mesh and interact and so forth is a problem. So one of the complaints is that you can see through this, which is sort of transparent, translucent anyway, but you can see fluid inside, but I don't see fluid inside. The answer to that problem reportedly is to drill 2 holes here on this clear area in this grid, perhaps up here and down here, very carefully, like 3/30 seconds, and very carefully, because reportedly there's a printed circuit board immediately underneath of this, and we don't want to hit that. And then what they do is they come over on this other side, somewhere down here, and drill another hole, and they inject this. I'm not sure where the other hole is supposed to go. Maybe down here. I'm really not certain, and I'm not doing it, so it probably doesn't really matter. But and then what you do is you inject it with an epoxy resin, and conveniently enough, someone out there manufactures something called a potting compound, and I can't remember the darn name of the company. I found it on Amazon. It's a company, they make some interesting stuff. They make like solder paste, so you can actually put surface mount components onto a PCB and just put a dollop of the solder paste on there and hit it with a hot air gun and solder it into place, that kind of stuff. Allied, no, it's not Allied Chemicals, I don't remember. Anyway, they make this stuff, but it looks like it's just an epoxy, so you could probably use any epoxy that has the self-mixing straw, so that it comes out in a very fine point, so it can be injected into these holes and just squirt this thing full of epoxy to prevent that oil from this differential fluid contaminated with metal particles from getting inside of this. And presumably, if it was already contaminated, we could either snap this top off, or drilling those holes and then spraying the crap out of it with brake parts cleaner might do a fine job of getting the stuff out. These parts are available. I've talked to 2 different dealerships. One was about $185, one was about $195. But I can get a 5-pack of these from, and they apparently are sold in 5-packs even from Mopar, but they're not going to sell you the 5-pack at the dealership for that $185 to $200. I can get a 5-pack of these from Rock Auto for after tax, title, license, and whatever. It's about $116. So that's fairly inexpensive, but I don't have that in my hand right now, so I do have this one. I don't see the fluid inside, and I just went to a store to get some dielectric grease, and I left it sitting downhill like this just to make sure if any fluid was in there, it would show up here, and I don't see any fluid there. So I don't believe I have fluid contamination here. I did, however, find quite a bit of fluid in the connector itself. This piece, and I'm sorry I don't have any lighting to go down here, I'm afraid, so I will get in here as close as I can and let the camera auto adjust, hopefully. This piece goes in just like this, and goes, this protrusion right here, let's see, there we go, this protrusion goes into that area right there. There we go, right there. And this void on the back side here, where my ring finger is sort of almost wiggling, fits over this piece right here. And when I get it close, I can feel a magnetic attraction, and it's going to be some kind of Hall effect sensor, I'm pretty sure. And that explains why when I took it apart, there was a film of nasty, like almost microscopic particles of metal that makes a sludge on here, and that's because it's magnetic and it's attracting those particles. So I wiped that down the best I could. I don't think that that's the concern. I think the concern is that it rides like this. I'm sorry, it's not going to focus very well for me here. And what happens is it sits uphill. Oil can be splashed up in there and then capillary through the shroud of the connector, and then eventually deposit oil inside the connector where it can build up. And I think that that's what I was experiencing here. And let me see if I can find the wire. So real quick, as long as I pan past it, this I originally thought was the sensor, and I thought, well, geez, that's going to be easy. This is just a bulkhead connector. That's all this is. You've got a stud with a single nut up top. You pull that off, and then you can remove this piece, and that coincides with, let's see, you can just see the little bit of a blue wire back up in there. Let's see if I can get that to, right there. You can see a little bit of blue wire. And it comes out, and there are 4 conductors in there, and 2 of them are going to come up and come to this plug right here. And that plug is what goes into the sensor. The other 2 wires are going to go into this block right here, and this is, I believe, the actual engagement piece. I think this is what actually engages and moves. Let's see if I can get my thumb down here. This ring, which is what actually locks the differential in some way. I'm not certain how. But in that movement, that's what the sensor is able to pick up. And it's the sensor that's the problem, apparently, not the actual locking mechanism. So what I'm going to do, because I don't have a new sensor here, and because I didn't find fluid inside of this device, inside of this sensor, is I'm going to just, I've already brake parts cleaned, just blasted the crap out of the connector on both ends, the unit and that part right there, of course, the plug that goes to it. I just sprayed the snot out of it, and I got some dielectric grease, and I'm going to fill those 2 parts up, and I'm going to plug it back in. I think it's a faulty seal on this connector. Now that I've been inside of here and seen how easy this is to take apart, I'm not afraid to put it back together, run it for a short bit. If it still gives me the same garbage, I'll spend $116 and some odd change, and I'll get a 5-pack from Rock Auto, and I will come back in here and do this again. I'll save the fluid because it's going to be brand new fluid, and I should be in fantastic shape. This was relatively easy to take off. Some of the online instructions will tell you to take the carrier, I'd call it a strap, I'm not really sure. Take that carrier strap off, and there's a bolt at the top and a bolt at the bottom. I found it unnecessary. I was able to easily get a T20 screwdriver in from the side and remove that without any troubles at all. So I'd rather not take anything loose that has to do with the precise setup of the rear end. I don't care if I don't move anything else. I don't like to do it. I don't want to do it if I don't have to do it, and I didn't have to do it, so I did not. Anyway, as it is, I'm going to dielectric grease this and the sensor, and then I'm going to put it all back together, fill it with some 75-140, and see what the heck happens. Okay, well, I didn't even get 350 feet, and it went right back to blinking. So that was a swing and a miss. What exactly is the problem? I don't know, because there wasn't fluid inside the sensor. But as soon as I'm through and hit stop on the video here, I will go back over to Rock Auto's website where everything's filled out, and all I should have to do is click complete purchase or whatever their little button is. Yeah, that's disappointing. That's okay. We'll get this. Okay, it's a couple of days later. There is a brand new sensor that is installed. This came from Rock Auto. I have not done anything with the vehicle. I just finished putting the screw in there. I haven't buttoned it up. I have no idea if this is going to work until I get it off the lift. This is the part that I got right here. The Mopar part was the, what was it, 685? Oh, 685-44629 AA, something like that. This came from Rock Auto. This is actually a 5-pack. After tax, title, license, delivery, tariff fees, assembly fees, shipping fees, whatever, was $116 and some odd cents for 5 of them. So we'll find out in a few minutes if that works. Okay, so I learned a valuable lesson with these things. It may show on video, and I'll try to get the light just to bounce off of that just right. You might see a number 1. I was wondering why these came in 5-packs. I thought, what, I need 1 to go and 4 spares. No, so you can kind of make out the number 1 right there on the side. So let's come over here. So this is the one I just put in yesterday, hoping I'd fixed it, not paying attention to details and seeing that there is a number 4 on the side of this one. Let me move these around. What I didn't know is that these are sold in 5-packs because there is a number 1 installed on the vehicle presently. Let's see if I can get that. Oh, I almost had it right there. See, there's a number 2. There's a number 3. That was the one I put in there. That's a number 4. And that's a number 5. Because apparently Mopar doesn't have any damned ass clue which unit got installed in your vehicle. So they sell them in 5-packs because you're going to try each one of these goofy things until you find the right one. And by the grace of God, I happen to have found, sorry, this is it, number 4. I tried number 4 and it didn't fix it, and I thought they were all the same. Well, I'm dumb. Now I know. So thank God I laid them out in order just a few minutes ago, and I installed number 1 actually on the unit, and thank God that was the correct one. I've got it still up on the lift, and I went ahead and got the ladder out, and I crawled up there, and I started the vehicle, and I engaged and disengaged the rear locker, and oh, it works now. So I'll pull it back out, I'll put some dielectric grease, and I'll fill that connector. Oops, that focuses on my finger. Let's try that. I'll fill that connector with dielectric grease like I had before. So this will be my 3rd trip into this sucker. The first time I just tried cleaning the contacts and putting dielectric grease on. The other one after blasting it with brake parts cleaner. That didn't correct it. Second trip was to go in and put in incorrectly. I had no idea. Number 4 over there. Number 1 is working on this one. I don't know if it'll vary from vehicle to vehicle or if it'll be year to year. I have no idea. But for whatever it's worth, this is a 2021 POS Gladiator.
You like movies about gladiators?
With the Rubicon package, of course. So that may vary from the 2021 Wranglers. It may vary from year to year, whether it be Wrangler or Gladiator. Or it might be so shoddy that it actually varies from part to part down the assembly line. I have no freaking clue. But just so you know, if you change these out, and if you don't already know, they're different. They are not all the same. And they are marked. And this is the aftermarket, which I showed you earlier. This is an aftermarket set that I got from Rock Auto. And I didn't know, and there sure aren't any instructions. Oops. So if you do this job, don't button it right back up and think you got it. Put it back into place. Start the vehicle. Don't drive it, of course. There won't be any grease back here. But you can move it enough to get it to go into 4-range low, so you can engage the lockers. There's a trick with the Off-Road Plus pages, apparently, where you can still engage the lockers in 4 high. I saw a video on that. I don't remember the details of it, but I know if you go into 4 low, which means it's kind of fidgety getting in low. But if you get it into 4 low, engage and disengage the locker and make sure that the dash indicator functions properly before you go to the trouble of buttoning this thing back up and refilling it. So there you go. Valuable lesson learned. Okay, well, here we are. I've driven this a number of times today. I've probably put, I don't know, 30 miles on it over a number of starts and stops. And that was the solution. That was it. So thank God that's fixed. That's pretty awesome. Now I know why they come in 5-packs. Because Mopar can't handle their business.